me more clicks.
No, it's all good.
Oh, I got them all. I got them all riled up. Got them riled up. Few more clicks. All right, we're live. I think we're live. I don't know.
Uh,
Something
well,
going.
hopefully we're live. At least we're living. Even if we're not live, we're living today. Oh my goodness. Oh, Scott's come up with a discussion today. Listen to this. He, it's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, man. I
is
can't
that the
believe these
truth?
people.
Is that the truth? Is
I
it a
can't,
dog eat dog world? I want to know
I
now.
thought these people were my friends.
I
Why are they?
can't believe these guys.
Oh, the
This,
camera's calling me again.
and there you go. This must be a rough. Get it? Rough dog eat dog world.
I
Rough,
know.
rough situation.
You can take the clown out of the circus, but you just can't take the circus out of the clown.
There you go. The juggler took the circus, but they brought him back.
Oh my God.
I went for the juggler.
Oh, it doesn't.
Anyway,
It,
let's go
it
back
doesn't
to
stop. It just
let's
doesn't
go
stop.
back. Let's go back. Our dog eat dog world. Is it a dog eat dog world, Scott? Tell us.
So I don't know why this has come to my conscious mind. It was something somebody said to me. Okay, so I don't know how long you guys been following me or not, but there was a guy that he had come to me. He wasn't working for another talent agency, and then he ended up backstabbing me, going to another talent agency, and then that talent agency did what I predicted, and then he came back and then wanted to apologize. I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, whatever, and then one of the things he said at the dinner when we sat down was that it's a dog eat dog world. Everybody's just out for themselves. And okay, well let's talk about that for a little bit, like because that's happened to me, that's happened to Jeff over here, and it was a hard realization. And if I can save a few lives by talking about it today, that would make me feel good today. So basically, what happened was that like I had trained all these people, and then I decided I was going to break off, and then these people that I had trusted, and trained and gave cars to and helped them make a living, no longer talk to me anymore. And I was like, man, why is that? And then, I've had other talent agents that would say something, oh, you'll step on your face to get to the next level, right? Or whatever. And it's like, why is that? Well, number one, you realize whenever you're talking to somebody, they're out for themselves, and that's just what it is, right? Like they wouldn't do something unless it was in their best interest, and that should make sense, right? So if I was going to leave on my own to do my own thing and yet still build something up, it would make more sense for somebody who already has a steady paycheck coming to stay where they're at and then say, well, screw this guy because now he's gone. Or when I was training him and like, or already in the same agency, like, oh, let's pick this guy over me, kind of thing. And it was like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I thought the world was fair. Like, and then of course you always hear the things that are like, oh, it's not a fair world. And then when you experience it, it's like, oh yeah, that's what they mean, kind of thing. So basically, this video is to explain that, like, if you put yourself in that situation, and that was a hard realization for me that I did this to myself. Yet, if we can talk about this and make it a broader scope, you can give yourself more outs than to be as invested as I was. So think about it like this. Like you're working for a talent agency and you're training all these people, and then you're dealing with a narcissist at the time. You don't know what a narcissist is, and they tell you that if you just work harder for me, you're going to make more money. And then if you're an analytical person, and then a few years go by, and you're like, well, I'm working harder for you, and I'm making less money. So then you go to the person and explain your situation, and then you get gaslit saying, oh, you're just making this up. I'm like, numbers don't freaking lie, man. And then like you stand up for yourself and say, I'm going to break off, and then you expect, why should you expect that? I don't know at the time, but that's what I thought, that if I was going to go off and make my own thing, that, some people would at least have some loyalties to me because I brought them from being a towel folder to the main person at the Magic Kingdom stage. And now they don't talk to me anymore. And it's like, wow, I guess it is a dog eat dog world, or is it? Because I look at it like this, right? If anybody's out there and seen the Pirates of the Caribbean, right, the first movie, I mean, a lot of the movies have the same underlining theme. So basically, if you're the owner of the ship or the captain of the ship, they all will drag to you, right? And then as soon as somebody else comes along and dethrones you, then they all go that way. And it's like, well, that doesn't, that's how I look at it. I'm like, oh, that's what's happening to me. How do I fix that? So basically, what I did was I stood up for myself and decided that I was just going to go my own way. And at the same time, 15, 20 years of building up somebody else and having everything invested, 120 grand, just walked away from it. I was like, I can't, like, that's why I look at Dave Chappelle and those types of people where they're just like, well, you're not going to tell me what to do, no matter what, because I'm going to make it happen. And then at the same time, you feel like you've been backstabbed because you've done all these things for these other people. And then Jeff over here would tell you that, oh, you should just give without anything in return or expect anything. And at the same time, you're like, well, fuck. I just changed your whole life, and then I get nothing for that. And that's part of growing out of your shell and then realizing, again, like I said before, people are out for themselves. So is it a dog eat dog world, or are you just not opening up enough lanes for yourself to go a proper way? And you know what? If you don't know what the lanes are, it's not your fault. Like I didn't know what they were. Like I didn't I just thought, well, yeah, I'll help all these people out and they'll be my friends and this will all work out and they'll understand that they'll be underneath me because, I just have more years invested, right? Like that's how somebody that works at like a corporate job or something like, you're like, oh, I have all these years invested and like, oh, the company just folded and now I lost my job. Now what am I going to do? But if you freaking invest in your freaking self, then if it falls down, it's on you. But if you have multiple avenues open, you just hop on to the next thing. And then it's like, well, was this person good enough for me for this avenue? Or was this person good enough for me for this avenue? And I don't know. It was just coming of age. And that's where I'm at with it right now. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because if you don't have the emotional intelligence and it's like somebody when they talk to you, you're decoding something. Like they'll tell you everything. It's whether or not you understand the code when it comes in and understanding well how that works best for you. Some people will call it manipulation, but at the same time, it's like, well, or not. Oh, what is it? What's the word? Hold on, Machiavellianism. That's what they'll call it. How does all of this apply to me? Like, how is it all focused to me? And I want that for you. Like you can help people out, you can do good things, yet are you burying yourself? Are you leaving yourself a life preserver if you're out in the ocean, right? Like you could just be out there thinking everything is okay, and then all of a sudden you have something like 2020 comes along, and then it all dries up, and then you get to see the real face. And sometimes it takes a tragedy like that for that to happen. Yet if you're building up your own brand, you don't have to worry about that. And then it's okay if you don't know everything. You're going to deal with multiple people all the time and then decide whether or not that works for you or not. And if you give people small commands and they don't do them, then that's your sign to go cut that and go find somebody else who does work for whatever you're doing. And that's what I got for that.
I want to
I had
throw
to
in.
get that off, I had to get that off
I,
my chest.
I
I don't
didn't
know.
say that today. Okay, so a little bit. I'm going to throw something I throw out a lot to people, and really, a lot of people are givers and a lot of people are takers. So givers give, takers take. And what happens with the giver, and when he gives too much and he feels he doesn't get any reciprocity, he gets his butt hurt. Okay, so we get our butt hurt because we give and give and give, and then takers take and take and take. Now, what we want for you to get is emotional intelligence. When a taker is taking, just understand that's what they do. Okay. It's in business and everything. It's a dog eat dog world. Maybe, maybe not. It's really how you're going to look at it and how you define it to yourself. Everything that somebody does to you, it's a learning experience. So you can take it that instead of going, they're trying to eat you. Now, the point is, in it, most people somewhere in their inside of them, they're looking after themselves. Now, not everybody. Now, that's when the giver gives way too much and expects or thinks somebody else is going to give them reciprocity, and it doesn't happen. Now, some people in situations are working for other people and they feel there's no out. Well, that's the way I believe Scott felt years ago, and he has said that he wasn't going to take it anymore, and he started his own thing. And every year he's gained another $100,000 in his own business. Now, he was at first taking a lot of belief that everybody's going to do right for him, and that's what looking out for him because he was looking out for them. And sometimes that doesn't happen. So the reciprocity didn't come back and forth. So what we want you to do is figure out, are you in a situation where there's a give and take and you're getting your share, or is somebody just using you? And if you are just being, just like I said before, givers give, takers take, uh, and it's a part of the giver's fault for giving, didn't put any boundaries up, didn't do anything and expected. So when you expect something and you get a different result, that's where unhappiness comes. So if you get what you expected, then you're not upset. But if you expected something else, so what's your expectations with your job in your life and DJing or whatever you're doing, and look into that because yes, you could say it's a dog eat dog world if you're looking at it that way, or you can just say people usually tend to look after their own interests first and and that's kind of what the world is. And some people don't. Some people look, like Mother Teresa looked at everybody else and tried to make the world better. And but most of us aren't Mother Teresa. So, but we can. I mean, you can strive to that. So, like he was saying earlier, he said Jeff would probably say help everybody for nothing. And I did that for a whole bunch of time, and there's no problem with you helping people if you have the virtue of kindness and you help people, you get kindness and you feel good. So I mean, yet what happens again, and when you give too much, and what is too much, it's going to be individual to everybody's going to have what is too much. So what we're saying today is look at where you're at, and is that where you want to be? Do you look around and say it's a dog eat dog world? If so, take care of yourself. One thing, and then don't be the other dog. you know, don't be the dog that's eating everybody else because but and take care of yourself because you can't save the world till you save yourself. What do you think of what I said there, Scott?
So with my learnings or going past whatever I grew past, it was like I I find this kind of sad is that I had to detach feelings and emotion from whatever I was doing to just analyze the information as it was coming in and be like, "Oh, that wasn't good," or this kind of works out for me. And detaching is how I decided to carry on with what I was planning on building. And I find that kind of sad because I really wanted to put my faith into people and just expected them to do the right thing, not realizing they didn't weren't brought up the same way that I was brought up because all I did for my whole life was take care of my mom, and that was all I knew. Like if I didn't get home from school on time, nobody was eating, right? Like or making sure she went to bed on time. Like my whole internal body is to take care of somebody else. Like my whole makeup, my whole map of the world is to make sure other people are taken care of because of my mom who couldn't use her hands, like couldn't eat. Like I had to, cut her food up, that kind of thing. And I always felt like I had to take care of people. So as I was growing past that shell, I just found it sad that I just had to look at the information as it was, as it comes in, and then be like, well, I need to now break it down into computer language, which is why NLP was so attractive to me because it broke down how people think and how they talk and how they operate. And then, well, now that I have this information, where can I utilize this person to the best of their ability, not to use them, yet to put them forward in the best position that works best for whatever I'm trying to build. And I wouldn't expect anybody to understand that unless they've been through the trainings and understand emotional intelligence So with that in mind, just realize people can't go past their map. They have certain capabilities, and then you just put them in the best possible position to succeed and make sure that works from there. The flip side of that is when you find somebody who is a narcissist and toxic and who's really good at getting people to go past their identity. And if you don't understand identity level, we have plenty of videos on that, where somebody has a map of the world, and yet somebody who can take their cognitive information and get them to do things that they're not, you know, built to do, which makes them go against their identity, which turns into depression because they don't feel like they measure up to whatever this person believes that you can be. And then where does that breaking point end, right? Or where does it start? Or where does it begin? Or are you measuring up to who you are as a person, which was kind of where I was at in order to find my confidence. So just keep that in mind when you're moving forward on what your goals are, and does it make sense to you? Does it feel good? And should you be doing what you're doing? And again, if you're not moving as fast as you are, or working hard like what I was doing, like nonstop, like I do today, it was like I did all these things, and yet it was for somebody else. So if you did all these things and worked hard for yourself, and it didn't work, then that's okay, because at least you know how to grow from there. And then once you start growing, you just do more of that. Again, I went to San Diego, and the coach was like, well, I started doing this, and it worked out really well. And I decided I was going to do something else. And that was stupid of me because the other thing was working. But I'm kind of noggin, like I'm kind of, strong headed or whatever. So I went back to that, and look, I'm making money again. So basically, what makes sense to you, find out what you like to do, and then take that and run with that. And then if that's not making you money, maybe you want to learn to grow in a different direction. Like again, I was DJing, and I was like, oh, I'll just worry about DJing, and all these people will just get me gigs, and I'll live my life that way. And then I just turned around and was like, well, this guy's getting this gig. I showed up to a freaking gig, and it was somebody else's picture on the flyer, and I was like, what am I doing here? Nobody gives a hell about me. Like when I would go to some place where I was appreciated, like all the work I did for this talent agency, and I show up to a place and somebody else's pictures on the freaking flyer, like why am I doing all this work? I'd rather do it for myself. And if I show up to a gig on my own company and my picture isn't there, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that's why I appreciate the freaking people that are around me, because it was like, hey, look, I paid you X amount of dollars, go do this gig, and there's no promise after that other than I'm going to work hard to get you more gigs. And everybody that I have in my circle works that way. So it's just a way to be honest, and it's a way to, you know, not go past your means. Because that was another thing too. Again, the talent agency that I worked for, they were like, hey, look, if you just work harder for me, you'll make more money. Well, I'm working more hours for you and getting paid less. Oh, you just made that up. What do you mean I made that up? Like, here is my records. It's not my fault that every other person that you hire doesn't keep as good as records as I do. Give me a freaking answer to this. And then I never got an answer to that. So I was like, well, gone. I'm gone. I don't know. What are you gonna do? Just leave? Like, you have a kid, you have a house, you're gonna make that happen? Yes. Yes, I'm going to make that happen, because if I work this hard to build up somebody else's company, I can do it for myself. And that's called independence. So again, do you want to work for somebody else? Do you want to build your own brand? Or can you just make the means with what you have? And just remember, wherever you start, you got to start somewhere. So you can only get better. And I don't know. I just got off of another interview, and they were talking about the videos that I had, and the interviewer was like, he doesn't show you that he's doing a $20,000 contract to brag. And I was like, wait a minute. Let me stop you right there. I show you that I did a $20,000 contract because I wouldn't want someone to invest in me if I didn't know what I was talking about. So it's not to brag. It's just like, hey, I spent this much time building up somebody else's company who treated me like a freaking dog. Dog eat dog world's the name of the video, right? And well, does he really know what he's talking about? Because I'm sure that narcissist is going around telling everybody that I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, if I didn't know what I was talking about, I wouldn't be able to build a $372,000 company that I have now. And then you have the other people that haven't built up their conscience yet to be able to lift themselves up to that level. Instead, they're fighting at a ground level. And I saw another post the other day. They were like, "Oh, if you see all these DJs working, just realize they're not getting paid anything because they didn't put their price up that high." Look at yourself. Look inward. Are you showing your value to people so that you can raise your prices up higher? So just think about that too. Is it a dog eat dog world? Are you fighting at the ground level, or are you trying to lift yourself up and take other people with you? That's the question. So you can fight among the dog eat dog world and sit back on your couch and criticize what somebody else is doing, or you could get off that couch and do something for yourself.
That was a mouthful. We started at one thing. I'm going to explain a little bit about our map of the world. Our map of the world and everyone's map of the world is going to be
I'm
different.
like, I'm excited over here.
Okay, so Scott's, he kind of
Fired up.
said that when he was a young, he had to take care of his mom, and there wasn't an option for him, and he was used to helping people. And when he went to his job, he was used to helping people, and he helped and helped, and he got used a little bit more than he should have. And so uh is that happening to you too? Are you got to feel where you're at, and do you want to make a change? And or you just want to stay with status quo? One thing, what's your map of the world? How do you feel? And if you're in a dog eat dog world, what are you going to do about it? One thing is you can reframe everything in the world find the silver lining, and then work on what do you want. See, we there's so many tools we use to get from wherever you're at to get somewhere else. So first, are you content and happy where you're at? And if you're not, what are the things you're taking, the small steps to go somewhere else? And if you really believe it's dog eat dog world, let's make it where you can feel that you're not getting eaten by the other dogs. And don't become the dog you don't want to be. Don't, I mean, just if you don't like what other people are doing and you do the same thing, you don't have the right to bitch. Now you become a hypocrite. So go
Well,
find
this other
what,
DJ just came in and I'm getting paid 250 and this guy came in for 200. Screw that guy.
well, everyone is going to choose where they want to be. And and they're going to make the decision either to take that gig or not take that gig. And yet you can't control the world. Only person you can actually control is yourself. You can't control the business, you can't control, and you can start learning how to take control of your business, and like you said earlier, becoming more worthy of the higher money. I think you were saying, well, the thing, let's go to Tony Robbins for a second. He says the only thing no one can take away from you is your knowledge. So learn as much as you can and grow as much as you can. Because when you grow and you learn, now no one can take that away. A divorce can't take it away. You lose your company, you can't take that away. You have what you're built of. And so build yourself as strong and wise as you can, and have as a happiness coach. I say, let's yeah, I know. It goes back to
What's
that.
that?
So where are you at? And again, if you're living in it, it is a dog eat dog world. Let's work and see if we can make it a puppy dog world, and it's not so bad. And it's like, and you can become the alpha dog with the knowledge you don't have to beat up all the other dogs.
So basically, if you're an employee, then you're not the one making the decisions. And that's part of the well-formed outcome, right? And like, oh, I'm going to wait for this boss to give me a raise or something like that. Well, that's not something that's in your hands. If you want to become free to make your own decisions and take the risk, then you get the reward. But if you're going to, lay back, wait for somebody else to make a decision, what if that boss gets fired? What if that boss takes a promotion and and you've been, snuggling up to him or whatever? So wouldn't you want to build your own opportunities? Like, wouldn't you want to like take your own risk? Or, like, I mean, it's not like it has to take a huge risk. Like if you're, sitting down with somebody who's built that path already, I mean, they can tell you which way, would make the most sense to go. At the same time, it's kind of like, well, you're gonna have to get out there and make things happen for yourself versus like waiting for somebody else to make that decision for you because nobody's gonna care about you as much as you, right? And it goes back to what I was saying before. Everybody's out there for themselves. Well, why don't you make the best decisions for yourself that you can, right? You
Even
can only control what you can do in the moment. You can't control what somebody else does. And if you get somebody to do something past their identity, they're going to resent you for it, and they're going to come after you anyway. Like, so why bother? I don't know. On my TikTok, I've been watching this guy who's a psychologist for the CIA, and he's like cognitive dissonances. If you can get somebody to do something past their identity, and that's the whole game that a narcissist does, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. I just want people to do what makes sense for them to do, right? If you're like, hey, look, I want to build my business, I'm like, let me show you how. If you want to get away from somebody who's controlling what you're allowed to do. Now, if you have a great relationship with somebody, right? Like then it doesn't make any sense for you to leave somebody, and then you're getting and like the information being presented to you is true and it works for your world. Great. It's the narcissist pricks that I can't stand. The ones that use anomalies. They're like, all the things that I can do for you. Like, name something. Like, build out a plan. Show me the freaking numbers. Get down to the details. It's the ones that are like, oh yeah, the more you work for me, the more you're gonna make. Well, that's a lie, and that's what's that? Complex equivalence. Well, that didn't. One has nothing to do with
look,
the other. One has nothing to do with the other.
because of this is what. So,
Yeah,
I had something great to say. There it went.
I didn't mean to throw.
It's like, whoa. Okay,
Did the
my
complex
brain was there.
equivalence throw you off?
Yeah, I was. I had a whole discussion I was going to come in with, but so again, you know, find out where you're at. If you find yourself in a situation which you're not wanting to be in, uh, oh, I got it. I remember. Okay, so back to back to where we go. A lot of times we say in a plane, put your mask on first. In a boat, put the life jacket on you first, and you first, because if you can't help yourself and you can't save your own life, you're not going to be able to help anyone else. So it's not what we want you to become a narcissist and nobody else matters. What we would like with you to come in your brain, do the right thing. I would, this is from my point of view, do the right thing that's right for you, a win-win situation for both people, and without stepping on as many, don't just go out
Well,
to try to hurt
not
people.
everybody's going to agree with you, especially the
Right.
narcissists. They're going to like hate
Well,
you.
the thing is, if you think about what we just said, dog eat dog world, if you're not doing what the heck I want you to do, then you're the ugly dog that's not doing what you're supposed to do, because my expectations is you should do this. And then when use that word should or ought to or must, we're putting something on someone else which isn't necessarily true. So back to number one, look after yourself. Yet don't be the dog who's being terrible to others, because you become that. So what we would say, or I would say, is basically, you know, do unto others. I believe do unto others, and don't be mean, don't do all these things, and yet look after yourself, because
Yeah,
sometimes,
you don't have to agree with everybody.
yeah, I'm not saying being a yes person or anything like that. I'm just saying, uh, save yourself first. One thing, you have to, if someone's stepping on you and your head every day, maybe that's not if you feel that way and you feel the dogs are biting at you, put that guard. What he was saying a second ago too is a really good thing to look at, is disassociate from the problem. So here's the problem, here's you, and disassociate from both of those and look like the bug on the wall.
Yeah.
seeing, and then you'll get a different perspective, and then find out what's the rightest thing you can do. Every choice of your life, do the best you can with that choice. And if you do that, then you don't have to live in regret, because we're all going to make silly things. We're going to, we think this is better at the time and we find out it's not. Yet we learn from it and go on. And if we can do that without losing ourselves and letting somebody else take over who we are, and keep our moralistic and our belief system up, we'll keep our self-esteem here and have a better life.
Yeah.
I know
Nobody's gonna know.
we've gone the whole gambit here. So what do
No,
you,
nobody's gonna know what's better for you than you.
right? And even though we study and help a lot of people, we can't tell you what's right for you because we're not you. And we do not know. No one knows what's best for you except you and whoever your higher being is,
Well,
you know.
since we went down that tunnel, just remember
Ah,
that. One quick note: like a hypnotist or an NLP practitioner, they can work without content. They don't need to know what the problem is at all. They can just talk to you and then ask you questions, and then you figure out what works out best for you. That's the best thing about an NLP and hypnosis. Is like it's not like a religion or anything like that. It's more like, well, what are you dealing with? What can you do about it? Have you thought about this? And then that opens up the map so that you can decide to do other things to get different results. And that's why hypnotists and NLP practitioners are really good, because they have these tools and they can hear problems 5 levels deep. You may think it's this problem. Well, let's ask a few questions, and it could be over here because you haven't dealt with that. And then you're like, how did you come up with that? I didn't even tell you what it was. Well, I could listen to your language patterns and be like, well, it's clear as day to me, and I don't even know what the issue is. Like, but then because you were able to help somebody else, you build that rapport, like deep rapport, and they'll tell you what the issue is, but you don't even need to know what it is.
I want to go into something just for a second, because we talked about maps a lot. A map of the world is basically how you see the world from everything that happened, everything you've gained, every bit of knowledge you got, your map of the world. What do you see? What do you taste? What do you feel? What do you hear? How do you see the world? In what your opinions on everything from where you came from? Now, what we can do and other people can do is open up the map. We can expand our map to understand different things. And as we grow, we can learn how to deal with things even better. That's what we're talking. There's layers. A lot of times I call them layers of an onion. When you break down, basically that wasn't it. So with NLP, we break down your language patterns to bring it all the way down to what is, why do you want this? And we just go money. Say, I want money. And, Tony Robbins would say, well, here's a quarter. The more money, there's your more money. And it's not really more money what you want. You want, what will that money do for you? And what
Yeah,
would,
what is true fulfillment?
yeah. So when you keep on breaking it down, pretty soon if you keep on coming to the same answer, why you want the money, that's the reason, probably motivating the money. So work from there to go, why do you need the money? Because maybe to get a new house, or maybe to get more food for the family. It doesn't matter what the thing is, but basically breaking it down, opening your map of the world. What do I have to do next? And then you got the well-formed outcome you can bring in. What is it? Then you make your goals. And I
What
know all
resources do
this
you
is
need? I know.
complicated, but we went a long ways. But what we're really saying is where you're at. And in dog eat dog world, it's really how you look at the world. It doesn't have to be a dog eat dog world. It can be, if that's the way you
If
want to
you
look
have a
at
narrow map, you got to
it. Yeah. So,
broaden it.
but you can open it up and say, I'm not going to play that game. You don't have to play any game you don't want to. You just step back, disassociate from what it is, and figure out what's a better way to look at this.
I
Because,
think that's an issue, right? Like people get really riled up too quick, and then they can't see
well,
what's
then
going on
they
in front of them.
become focused on a situation instead of opening up, and because they're so focused, they don't have any gray areas. It's just a black and white situation. And I for a long time myself, years and
Yeah,
years ago,
same.
I was totally black and white. It was right or wrong. There was not even that. everything I said was right. And
I
no,
believe it.
kidding. So, but I looked at the world black and white instead of gray areas. And when you can open up, because if you understand, people can't see what you see because they're not you, and you can't see what they see. So if you can
Sure.
open up and understand and give them the question, what do you mean by that? This is a universal, that's the universal thing to figure out more information. What do you mean by that? Because when people say something, you're going to use your map, what it means to you, and it might not mean what they meant. So that's
That's
why
one
uh,
of the biggest things I have with one of my DJs, right?
miscommunication.
I'll explain something to him and be like, "Well, this means so much to me." And it's like this doesn't mean as much to you because you haven't lived the life that I lived. Like
Right. I
like
mean,
I DJ and this means everything to me, and then yet you have a side job and it doesn't mean the same to you because you didn't risk it all. Like you didn't put it all on the line. So you could give me your thoughts and opinions and stuff, which is great. I mean, I'll listen to it for what it's worth. At the same time, it's like you didn't live the life, you didn't walk that line. You didn't walk that line, so you don't realize I was ready to. I'll risk it all. Like like
and we haven't walked your line. Whatever
yeah.
you've done throughout your life, we don't know. We don't even yet. People in general, the dog eat dog world, back to that, is how you're going to look at the world and your map of the world. And what we're saying, you can open your map and expand your map so it's not a dog eat dog world. You can keep it as a dog eat dog world, or you can change it, or you can
I guess the
adapt.
biggest thing is when you get deceit from somebody. You're like, oh, I thought this person was gonna have my back, when you realize they didn't.
Well, see, deceit. It's like you expected something
Yeah.
from.
So
And
I
so
remember
we go
one
back
one
to
quick story.
expectation.
One quick story. I signed a contract with a drummer saying that I was no longer allowed to DJ with any other drummer on the planet. And then like the video DJ world is so small, right? Like there's not many. So I was like, okay, man, I don't mind signing a contract saying I'll never DJ with another drummer as long as you don't drum with another video DJ.
Okay.
Guess
And
what happened next month?
he
He
wouldn't do it.
DJ'd with the biggest freaking competition that I had in the market. He drummed with the biggest competition I had in the market. And I was like,
So he
well,
broke contract. Did you both sign it?
I didn't sign anything. I just gave him my word. I was like, hey, look, I'll sign this. I don't care. Like, I'll never DJ with another drummer as long as like video DJs, right? Such a small community, so small. I was like, there's no possible way this could possibly even happen next month. Oh yeah, I'm flying to California to DJ with a video like the one of the biggest video DJs. I was like, well, fuck this. I
Well,
was, I
there's so many. There's
was
so
like,
much with that one. Okay, it
I
depends
was,
on
I
which
was
part
like,
we want to go in.
I
Basically,
was like,
I would go to if somebody came to that, I would go, Scott. That's why we do contracts. That would be my first thing.
yeah.
That's why we do contracts.
I thought I had a relationship. I
Right.
thought I did enough work for this company. I thought like word was good.
Well, again, the real world, and that I don't, and I'm not going to
I
go
know.
dog eat dog
Yeah, I know.
world,
That's why we're
but
here.
we want to cover you know, the reason why contracts are so good. I'll give you a bunch of reasons why contracts are so good, because the contract actually says what's supposed to happen at the event. It says these people will show up and they will do this. The lighting will do this. And then both sides sign the contract. It says we understand both parts. So when something doesn't happen, you can go back to the contract and see, no, this is, and you both agreed it because you agreed and they agreed, and both of you signed it. So you're both in agreement. So when something doesn't happen, and you don't have to go, you said this, no, I didn't. Yes, I did. And then you're in that bull crap right there. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, 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 no. And
Yeah.
so that's why we
Rub
do.
it in.
So
So there's also another dynamic, right? The other person is the owner of a company, and I'm an employee, right? Like, what am I gonna do? Fight against it? Now I gotta go find another talent agency to work for. That's another thing that sucks too. Like, oh, I'm already in this boat. I guess it's a dog eat dog world. Just have to take what these people give me.
I
What?
don't think so. I think
At the time, I didn't.
okay. Well, what I say to anybody with that, I would say become unstoppable. Basically, become the best you can be, and no matter what. Okay,
Yeah, how much you gonna
in
get crapped
theory,
on
in
before you
theory,
decide it's not like for you?
in theory, no matter what, the top 20% of any profession will make money at this. Even if you're working through somebody who's taking some off the top, or you're working for yourself. Now, if you're working through somebody at the top and they're making money and you're okay with their making that money, then and you feel good about it and you think they're not trying to hurt you and you're not trying to hurt them, you can stay where you're at if that's what you want. Or you can veer out because usually um, I hate to say you need to leave the town, but that's the easiest way because nobody knows you somewhere else. Yet, most of the time, like me, I'd work through 80 other agents. I own an agency too, but I lost when I started my own agency in 93, even though I was working through other agents and I didn't have an exclusive with anyone. Um, I dropped a lot of the agents because then I'm just their direct competition, and that's what Scott's become too when he veered off. And companies veer off. I would say I'll say 50% of the companies in Dallas have veered off of each other. They started a company and then somebody else started another because they got mad at each other and didn't agree. So there's, I mean, there's countless numbers of those because, again, people feel they've been mistreated. So if you feel you've been mistreated, a good thing to go is a Byron Katie. Is it true? Is it really true? And is this about me or is it about you? Is what you're thinking about you. And the only really control you have over anybody is if you have leverage or you only have control over yourself. So, what do you want to do with yourself to make yourself better and to get out of this dog eat dog world thought and change it to, I'm just going to be the best me and be as happy as I can every day and get out of that stupid attitude and understand you happiness, I'm going back to happiness, is a skill and you can learn it. You don't have to be happy. The world doesn't care if you're happy. It, your unconscious doesn't care if you're happy. It cares if you're alive. So it's going to keep the primals there. So being that, find out what you want to do. And when you want to do something, you're going to be better at it. And if you're happier, you have better attitude, you look better, people like you more. So being happy actually helps your life. So work on that also in, let's get this dog eat dog world and mess out that word and say we're going to do our best and who gives a shit about everybody else because we're important too. We're all important.
Well, I think we're gonna close with that. Got them all riled up.
We want you to be as happy as you can
Yeah,
and
happy.
happy.
I want you to be successful.
Okay, so I want you to be happy and he wants you to be successful. So take a little bit of both.
Alrighty, guys, we're gonna go ahead.